Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Dan Serrano, Executive Director of AYBL Basketball. And hey, Dan, we've been doing this for almost 10 years, and thanks for coming on. And new times and new mindset to keep youth sports, not just AYBL, but just youth sports going, and kind of update us where AYBL is as of today.
Well, you know, we're in our 42nd year. We're still around, although I still get, countless emails and calls each week about when we're going to start a season, because the anxiety with not just the kids but the parents to get back on the court is extremely high. And considering, the circumstances we've been going through, no one wants to get back on the court more than I do and get the kids back into the gyms and playing. But not just playing, but also honing their skills and practicing the game so they can get better and get to the next level, which is what AYBL has always been about. As far as the state of affairs with youth sports, it goes week to week now based on where we are with the pandemic and where the numbers are and how we're going to get to a point where it will be not just safe, but the use of facilities is going to be at our disposal too. You and I have talked about this off camera many times. The primary concern with those that are participating in our program, or just in general with youth sports overall, and understand I'm also the state AU basketball director, so I deal with a lot of the statewide issues too, is that we need to make sure that when we do get back in the gym, it's safe for not just the kids, but the fans, the parents, et cetera, the officials to get back in there with them also.
Well, I think the word right now is patience. There's, before when COVID came out, there was not, the vaccine is now they have a vaccine. It's going to take a while for it to get to the public, to the general public, and I think once everybody gets vaccine, that at least there's some positive things going on. And I know that's a big concern of a lot of people. And one is the question is the vaccine safe? So.
Well, and that's a concern I hear a lot of too, and of course, in this day and age with social media and just the ability to get information at the speed of your thumb, we don't know where we are with everything. The vaccine's coming out. I can't speak because I don't have the experience or the wherewithal to speak to how successful it's going to be and when it's going to happen. But we have to trust that those that are leading us through this pandemic are pretty much on top of this. But what I can do with respect to where we're at with AYBL is take the information we do have and implement that. And this is what we do know. We do know that the governor has taken action over the months to try to curtail the spread of the pandemic. It's not an isolated deal that just affects New Mexicans or kids or anyone. It's a worldwide deal right now. So there are concerns, there are fears. I think for the most part, and folks I've talked to and what I've seen, we have a tendency to put fear over faith in what's happening. I think we're going to get through this thing and we're going to come out of it. There's going to be a new normal. It's going to affect not just youth sports, but our economy, our communities, our schools, and the way we do business. We're just going to have patience, like you said, and trust that if we do what we're supposed to, we'll get through this a lot quicker than if we don't.
Well, I think what we're seeing too, there's a lot more believers of how serious this COVID has really taken. I mean, I know that me personally, when we first started, it was, I remember even talking with people, I said, well, name one person. I mean, now it's, 5 months later, and it's like multiple people that have either, and some of our good friends have passed, and it's not just people 60 years and over. It's all the way from 20 all the way up, and it's really put a detriment to the way we have done things in the past. And how do you see moving forward? I mean, you and I talk about gyms being a big issue, and what's going to have to overcome to where the people are safe when they go to the gyms?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to get to a point in this whole pandemic issue to where our leaders and our experts in the field of dealing with this will come out and say, you know, we've gone over the hump. We're on the backside of the mountain. There's no threat of a second outbreak or second strain. We've crossed more T's and dotted more I's than we haven't in dealing with this. There's still a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of the uncertainty comes from the fact that you know, everyone's going to feel different about where we're at with this thing, and their fears are warranted, and we have to respect them. So when we get back in the gyms, and before I get into the part of going back to the gyms, I want to address one of the things you said, and that is that when we go back to the start of this pandemic, if we were seeing a few deaths and numbers in the 150s or 170s, you know, we were pulling the fire alarm every chance we had. I mean, that was a major issue. We've reached as high as over 3,000. We've been in the thousands lately, dropping a little bit, but the deaths are rising. And you're right, we've seen a lot of folks close to us die, young and old. I get prayer requests from grandparents saying, my grandson or my granddaughter is dealing with COVID, will you please pray? So it's not an issue just geared towards the elderly. So it's a universal issue. When we get back to the gyms, it's going to be because we've reached a point where everybody's fears have been alleviated to the point where we can be allowed to use gyms, number one. Number two, whatever the criteria that we'll have to come up with to get in the gyms, is we have to see what the cost factor of that's going to be. I've told you our insurance costs have risen considerably because of the coronavirus and the concerns that if someone gets sick or gets the coronavirus in one of the facilities, that we're not held liable. So we're seeing that universally around the country with youth sports. We come up with proactive plans to try to you know, social distance and sanitize and do a lot of different things, but that's an ongoing process.
Well, Dan, we're going to go to the Dream Style Top 10 Plays of the Week. Come back, talk more about AYBL basketball.
They haven't gone back to more. Racknell is still in there. Throwing on the post pattern. Caught. Down. What a catch at the 25-yard line. That's just a great catch by number 1, Drake Owen.
Single running back. And West does get the ball, and he has wide open lane. Let's see if he can make it. He punches it in. Did he get it? Yes! Touchdown, Ben West. Franco hands the ball off. Nice hold for a nice run. He breaks one, breaks two. Touchdown!
Second down. Smith. Plenty of time. A little pump fake. Fires in. He's going for Connor O'Toole to the end zone.
Fowler the play fake, throws it out to Colson on the screen. Colson breaks a tackle. 20, you might be going to the house. Touchdown Mustangs.
Third down and 16. Redford going to throw it, throws it out. The receiver slipped. The ball is picked, and back to the north side we go. And this could go all the way back for a touchdown and into the end zone. Set far side for Bell. She couldn't put it away. Sharp over the block. Salas. Ray. Hit over by Cheshire. Sharp again through the block. They're going to set Bell on the far side. Gonzalez Sanchez digs it out. Jones will push it to Sharp. That's been her spot, but they're scrambling and still alive. Now it's going to come over. Salas gets it there. Jones. Gonzalez Sanchez, Sharp will have another swing. Just barely able to get it back over. Great defense for Pius. They'll try Wallace on the other side. Yes!
Play fake. Throws. Oh, what a catch by Reggie Colson. Boy, he got whacked and still came down with it.
Handoff goes right side. Breaking some tackles and more. Off to the races. Still on his feet into the end zone. What a
middle of the field. It's one of the most impressive things you will ever see.
Here's a quick slant, and look at the speed by Altier. Can anybody catch him? A foot race. Altier. What an answer.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We got Dan Serrano, Executive Director of AYBL Basketball, and getting better at saying those words. But Dan, we got some highlights, of previous things and some of the things that you created, with the help of me in your ear a little bit. But one thing we talked about is putting kids on the air, and here we are. We got them going in the deal. And something you use creativity and change the whole format to where we could get all the kids on the air.
Right. And you know what? Looking at the highlights, and it brings back. It seems like a long time since we've been in the gym, but here we are with the girls' game that we did at Manal. And shout out to Manal. They've been a great supporter of AYBL basketball, and it's one of the better facilities we use. And that's one of the things about the facilities is over the years, you and I have worked hard to make sure that we get the kids in nice facilities. Most of our games, if not almost all of them, are played in a mid-school or high school environment where there's a wood floor and there's a scoreboard, and they get that atmosphere.
I think the word is wood floors. I think that's something that you and I speak of highly, is having wood floor. One, just for the injury sake of it, and just the bringing the level up. And I know that people really are real excited about coming and playing for the championships.
Oh, right. And then, we put them on ProView networks. They're streamed. You and I have talked about this before, about the grandmother who called me from Virginia saying, I never had a chance to see my grandson play, and I was able to see it streamed on the internet, and it brought her to tears. So there's a lot of good that comes out of this, but at the end of the day, the kids just love. They step up their game. They love the whole atmosphere, and that's part of what we're all about, is getting them to the next level. They get to high school, and they get on ProView there. They get to college, hopefully they get on TV there. It shouldn't be the primary motivation to hone your skills, but it does drive them.
Well, I want to thank you for that. I mean, you listened to me on this. We did it with Yaffle football. It's been very successful for Yaffle football when we go back almost with Yaffle almost 12 years, and to see the kids play in Yaffle that were successful, then they go on to high school now. Some of them are still in college and playing college, and it's rewarding to see that New Mexico kids can play on the next level.
They can, especially if we prepare to play at the next level, which is why AYBL was formed. AYBL is still the most competitive youth basketball program in the Southwest. Still get a lot of calls from folks that want to participate or invite our teams to their tournaments. You and I have talked about this again, about out-of-town teams that want to bring their programs or their teams into AYBL. Logistically, sometimes it becomes a problem, but, we've had teams from all over the state participate, especially in our tournaments. So we're still the premier program. So when the time comes for us to get back in the gym and on the court, our infrastructure is in place. We're ready to go within a couple of weeks, and we get the kids going.
Well, you know, that's really exciting to hear, and you know, hopefully soon. but I think I said the word right, patience, and I think, you know, safety is one thing that you and I both speak of, and you know, and it's really very rewarding, you know, to see that good things are going to be happening once we get safety first.
Well, and we have to put the safety of the kids first and foremost. I understand, you know, I get a lot of calls and complaints from parents saying, well, you know, little Johnny's friend is playing in a tournament this weekend, and why can't he be playing? He says, well, you know, we're not putting anything out. We're the only program that's made it clear that until it's safe, we're not going to get back in the gyms, and we're not going to violate any of the governor's policies or the health policies that are in place. We're not driven by dollars. We're a nonprofit. I understand the need of other programs and stuff that have bills to pay. We have bills to pay too, but at the end of the day, the safety of our kids comes first.
Well, and it's just another hurdle, and I think that's the way you look at it. It's just another obstacle coming up, and you know, I mean, you've had gym increased prices, and I'm just going off the top of my head, and you've had referee prices increase. You've had, you know, janitorial, scoreboard. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that makes this for the last 42 years to make this thing successful. Now, what do you think is going to, you know, you're saying foresight with COVID, is there some things that you're looking into that will make people at ease?
Well, the first thing is we're only going to get back on the court in the gyms when it's safe. And the second thing is that if there's protocols that come with that safety measure to get back in the gyms, we will follow those protocols. I mean, we're doing that now. You talk about the expense factor. Things have risen. Our insurance is going up. The cost of gyms is going to go up. Everybody has a concern over safety and liability. We live in a litigious society right now. So, you know, I think, you know, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but we probably have an abundance of lawyers that need work, so they're going to take any advantage of anything to get work. But once we get there, I think it's going to be fine. The new normal is going to be a reconstructed normal, which is probably not a bad thing. But one of the things we don't talk about is, you know, we spend an enormous amount of money on officials. And that's probably the bulk of our expense for the most part. So we have a ton of officials out there that aren't just not calling our games, but other games because nothing's happening. So their income, whether it's disposable or not, is taking a hit, and they're hurting. And our economy is hurting because if they're not making money, nobody's spending money. So, you know, we can go on and on about the economic impact, but once we get through this thing, I think everything starts to come back. But it's a new normal, a reconstructed normal, and we have an opportunity. We quite frankly, you know, we can see the silver lining in this thing if we're willing to keep our eyes open and look more at having faith in what's to come instead of focusing on the bad.
Well, one thing that you've always done with me is there's a positive side of it. You can look at, you know, there's a lot of negatives going on right now, but there's a positive, and I think that's what's really exciting to me is that in a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, once you know, if you want to really go to get red, green, yellow, you know, or whatever the protocol is, but once we're all green and moving forward, it's rewarding to know that AYBL can step up and get going very quickly.
Well, and that's because our infrastructure is in place. 42 years of doing this and having a track record of success in doing it. Have we pleased everybody every year? No. I mean, no, not everybody can win a championship. Not everybody's going to win every game. And as you well know, in our league, not everyone leaves with a trophy.
Well, Dan, we're going to come back and talk more about the future of AYBL and also how we can make things happen.
All right.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We got Dan Serrano, Executive Director, AYBL Basketball, and 42 years. And you've been head of this thing now for, I want to say 10, 12 years?
10. You know, some people might say 48, but you know what is, there's been 4 directors, as you well know, Jim Patterson, and then Gene Pino, and Frank Castile, and myself, and so
basically that's 4 and 42 years. This means that people that have done it have really taken the time and put their effort in, and it's not like a one year and done. They put some time and effort into it.
Well, and I look back and you know, withstanding myself, is folks that are committed to the game, committed to serving the community, committed to helping kids learn the game of basketball and compete in the game of basketball. And but it's not just basketball that we focus on, Steve, as you all know. We emphasize a discipline. We emphasize the fact that you're a student athlete, not an athlete student. We push respect. We push integrity. We push you know, knowing what to do and what not to do. And for the most part, I mean, a testament to that is if you remember a couple of years ago, we had Coach Borrego, come on and do a promo spot for us because of what AYBL did for him when he was a youngster.
Well, I think the word student athlete, and I know that you're very enforce that very well, and discipline. And you know, one thing, you know, one of your obstacles is basically parents being etiquette in the playing field and being responsible for their actions. And you've done a great job of policing that and making sure that people stay focused on really what AYBL is about.
And it hasn't come without, you know, some resistance, because at the end of the day, the kids just want to play the game. You know, they don't want to listen to mom and dad screaming at them or anyone else. They don't want to see mom and dad come out of the stands and attack another player or an official or another coach. They don't want to have games canceled or suspended because of behavior that's just not right. So when we speak of discipline, it's a discipline in our overall program. The parents sign that they're going to follow the rules. We have a number of rules to follow. We have boundaries, and just like there are in the court, you know, you don't cross over the baseline or the sideline without being called out of bounds. So we're teaching that, and the kids are picking it up, and we're starting to see that if the parents just come and enjoy the game and cheer everyone on and be good sports, that we change the culture of what we want and what we're teaching. Because at the end of the day, Steve, the discipline is not punishment. And that's what folks have to look at. It's a discipline is an order that we need to have so that we don't have what I call the out of whack syndrome that we're dealing with right now in our communities.
Well, you know, you kind of touched on, you know, the gyms and being able to ready to go, and you talk about emails. What are you telling people right now? I mean, I should know. I'm on the board, but I mean, and I think the word is patience. But I'm just saying, people, they're wanting their kids to play right now, and how do you keep letting them know, you know, when are we going to start?
Well, I'm staying consistent with our message. It's on our website. We will start as soon as it's safe to do so, as soon as our government's allowed us to get back in the gyms. I mean, we're not going to violate the health orders. We're not going to subvert what our leaders are trying to accomplish in making sure that we get through this in a safe and quick manner. Because if we do that, that's civil disobedience, in my opinion. We're not teaching the kids to do what's right. We're not teaching the kids that the rules apply to everyone but you. And we're not teaching the kids that patience. And that is, you know, you may not be able to get in the gym right now, Steve. And you and I grew up in communities where we weren't always in the gym. And at a time where we weren't always in the gym. You go to the side of the barn, you can go in the backyard, you go in the front yard, you go to the park with a kid. You can still work on your game, and you can still have a lot of fun playing it and honing your skills. Albuquerque used to be one of the top places to go play outdoor basketball.
Well, you just reminded me, Wells Park.
Right.
Man, it was unbelievable, the fanfare of, you know, when I first, you know, came from Clovis here, that's the first place that if you wanted to show your skills, you would play outdoor. And there's plenty of basketball courts right now that you can get out there, and I see it. There's some kids right now in the Northeast Heights that are outside. They have their practice, and they have their little one-on-ones and two-on-twos, and it's kind of neat to see, reminisce a little bit of when I first came to Albuquerque.
Well, you know, and on the west side, I still travel around the different parks, and I see kids playing. I see adults playing. And Dick's Sporting Goods, as you know, is one of our big sponsors of AYBL. They always provide me with a whole bunch of basketballs every season. And what I do is different sizes, too, little kids to the big sizes. And my boys and I, they love to play, so they go to the park still. But I keep a whole lot of basketballs in my car, so when I see kids out there or they don't have a ball or it's flat, here's a basketball. Go, here, courtesy of AYBL and Dick's Sporting Goods, go play basketball.
You know, real quickly, kind of, still you can go to the website, correct, AYBL website, and we'll keep you well informed of when things are going to start happening. Is that correct?
Right. And it's just the website. The message is the same. We'll send out an email to our database. We'll put it out there. We have a guy who does social media stuff for us. He's on our board, Chris Brown. He does a great job. I don't spend a lot of time doing that because that's not my forte. I don't want to get caught up in the daily, this is what's happening, an hour later it changes or somebody's responding. Our message is consistent.
Well, Dan, hey, thanks for coming on the Steve Davis
Thank
Show.
you for having me.
And then also, good job with keeping people well informed, and let's get our athletes back on starting to play.
Well, and kudos to you and ProView. You guys do a great job for youth sports.
Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks.